Hi everybody. Just thought I'd give you a little lesson on the decorator design pattern and its application for scroll panes. The Gang of Four is the large book on design patterns, mentions the decorator design pattern as a mechanism for attaching responsibilities to an object dynamically. It's an alternative to using inheritance. It's known as a wrapper, and the motivation is you want to add properties to an existing object. And examples, you can add borders or scroll bars to a GUI component. You could add stream functionality, such as reading a line of input or compressing a file before sending it over the wire. And its applicability is in the area of adding responsibilities to individual objects dynamically without impacting the other objects' instances that may be in existence. So when you're extending classes, this is fairly impractical when you have a single inheritance system like Java. So if you had a large number of independent extensions, it would require that you have a virtual explosion of subclasses in order to be able to get every combination. Typically what you have is some kind of a text view or an image view, and what you want to do is add some scroll bars to the left and right of it so you can scroll around because it's too large to fit on the screen. And in order to be able to do that, you add this so-called ScrollPane, and the ScrollPane enables you to avoid having to create a whole bunch of extra classes in order to be able to add one feature like scroll bars. Inheritance would just essentially cause an explosion in terms of the number of classes that are available, and by using the decorator pattern you can avoid the explosion. So here comes the visual component, which can do a simple draw and resize, and here comes the decorator, which is a subclass of the visual component, and now here comes a scroll bar and a border, also subclasses of the decorator, and now all the different types of borders and all the different types of scroll bars that can be subclassed. And this is an example which we can imagine is based in inheritance. The decorator's general form says if you have a decorator that's subclassing from some component, it has a component in it, and then it has variations, decorator A, decorator B, which allow you to add operations and change the outward appearance. So the ScrollPane is a great example of a decorator. Any component can be decorated with a ScrollPane. That you could put in a list, containers, images, text areas, whatever you like. And here's an example where you have something inside of a ScrollPane. You've got horizontal and vertical scroll bars, and they allow you to scroll around. I happen to have prepared an example so that we can see the ScrollPane in action. And what we'll do here is we'll run the application first. So first we'll start off with the demo, and we'll start with a little poster. And here's the poster, and you can see the scroll panels, scroll bars on the horizontal go away and come back, and this lets you scroll around on the image. Maybe we can make it larger. Here we go. And now we can scroll down. So there's this scroll panel. And to see us creating one here in the code, you'll see we said get read file, so that allows us to get a file for our image, and we pass that file into the constructor for the ScrollPane demo. And that's a frame which we can display. We set up our title and our size and our background, and then we get the content pane and add a scroll pane. And the scroll pane has as its argument some kind of component, and that component is going to be just a big label with an icon that uses an image that came from this absolute file name, and that's it. So the image icon is the component, goes into a label, makes a nice picture, and then the ScrollPane adds the scroll bars for us. And as you can see, it's a relatively short little program. So the motivation for doing this is it's a flexible way to add features to a component, and that component changes its appearance, and so it's quite appropriate for us to call it a decorator because it's decorating the component with scroll bars. It forwards requests to the component, such as moving around, so that you can move the component up and down or left and right. So decorators are a flexible alternative to inheritance. Decorators enhance or in some cases restrict functionality of decorated objects, and they work dynamically to extend class responsibilities. Even inheritance does some, but in a static fashion at compile time, whereas decorators can add features at runtime. And so now we have a new design pattern, the decorator design pattern. Thank you.